pre-election coverage continues this morning.
That's right, Dave. In the House this morning, we have 15th District State Representative candidate, Mr. Jack McEntire. Good morning, Jack.
Morning.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Well, sir, getting close now. Less than 4 weeks. A quick description for folks who haven't had a chance to hear you present or don't know that much about your history, since you're up against somebody who's got a lot of history. Give us the 411. Who's Jack McEntire?
Yeah.
Huh?
I grew up in the area, of course. Went to Holy Family, Whitney, Wilson, Mike, YVC, UW, microbiology, immunology, UW. Family came here during the Depression, picking fruit, getting their water out of buckets out of the Natchez River.
Wow.
Dirt poor. Family worked hard, had a lot of aspirations. Dad got a nice place up on Chestnut, and I had the fortune to get a good education here in the area.
Yeah, that's not an unfamiliar story for a lot of folks.
Right.
About who.
Well, there's an awful lot of us Arkies and Okies here.
Yeah,
that,
a lot of
made
hardworking
our home
folks.
here.
Yep, that came up and carved out a life. You betcha.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
Jack, what do you do now? Tell us about your family.
Well, I've actually been a sculptor for the last 21 years, do monumental stone, steel, wood, ice.
Really?
Married, have a daughter, have a house in Sela. My daughter is finishing up her 4 years at YVC, wanting to get her MBA now.
You may not remember this, but Jack carved this fabulous ice sculpture that said, KIT, you're number one, and it melted almost instantly. So I don't know if that was like predictive or what the deal was with that. But give us an example of just to wrap this part of it up, what's your favorite piece that you've ever cranked out? Is there something that really sticks out in your mind that you
Wow, my favorite piece. I've actually...
They're all your babies, I know, so yeah.
Yeah, well, I've done these warriors. I started off with a high school in Texas. They have a stadium even they love their high school football there, of course.
Sure.
And they wanted me to do their mascot, and I carved this really buff guy, not a weapon one. He is the weapon.
Yeah.
Just
Like
standing
Tormy,
proud.
yeah.
Like Tormy, shut up.
So,
No, I don't know, man. This guy was a mountain of a man.
and so that's one that's kind of a favorite of yours, huh?
Yeah, it is. The kids really loved it, and it really is an awesome piece.
Outstanding.
To be able to make a human figure.
That is really cool.
The most challenging thing you can sculpt.
Yeah.
Because we all know it so well. If it's not
Oh,
right,
yeah.
everybody gets it, right?
Yeah. How many times do you get that close to a whale? Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Well, Jack, you're going up against a guy that's been there. You're going up against you're a Democrat.
Yes.
And you're going up against a guy that's been there for a long time. Republicans have controlled the seat for many years. What do you have? What do you believe that you have that Bruce Chandler, your opponent, doesn't have that you can bring to Olympia?
Sure, yeah. Bruce has been in office for 20 years. A lot of people in the area might say things haven't been going all that great for the working class folks in our area. We haven't been getting a whole lot of wage increases. We struggle too much for our health care. It costs too much. We can't inherit anything to our kids unless you get hit by a bus. You have to declare poverty, sell off everything you have. I would love to be able to give my house to my daughter. Everyone in this room is probably not going to be able to. So I'd like to bring universal health care to Washington State. Every other advanced country in the world does it. They pay half of what we do. I'd like to reduce your health care taxes by half. They call them premiums. It's just a disguise. They're taxes. There's no reason for us to pay twice, live a shorter life expectancy. The United States loses more children and women in childbirth than Croatia. We can do better than this. I love my country. I'm proud of it. We're the best country in the world. We definitely can have better health care than Croatia.
I remember from your primary visit with us, Jack, you were pretty articulate on all this subject matter, and very, I would say, it's close to your heart. There's emotion behind what you say and do. There's passion for sure. That's what stands out most to me from our previous conversation. That this isn't idle chatter with you. This is core stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had cancer in 2000, and I was on public health care. If I didn't have that coverage, I know I would have ignored that lump. Present at stage 3 or 4 in the hospital. They spend $1 million on me. I die anyways because I've waited so long to have it taken care of.
Yeah.
Instead, 8 days after surgery and radiation, I'm able to go back to work. Sole provider for the household. Instead of spending all that money and then my family needs support for the next 21 years, you give the person the health care they need. I'm able to go back to work and take care of my family myself.
Sure. Well, there's some sense to that, no question about it.
So, Jack, how do you make that happen? How do we make universal health care happen when, a good majority of your fellow lawmakers would be against it?
Well, I don't know if majority would be, of course. Democrats do control the House and Senate in Washington State. We had an initiative, I-1600. We didn't get it on the ballot. We tried to do it without any paid gatherers. Didn't quite get enough signatures, but it can be done. Washington State will lead the way.
You are, I take it you're knocking on doors out there, talking to folks?
Thousands of doors.
Well, what are they saying? What are they telling you?
A lot of people are very upset what's going on nationally, of course. They feel ashamed and embarrassed sometimes by the language and the behavior. They're worried about their health care. They're worried about their kids' education. They're worried about all the shootings. And if we had universal education, in other words, if the kid can pass the entrance exam, a free ride through college or vocational training, New York State is already doing this.
How do we fund that?
The funding, I've had people ask me that. How will we pay for this?
How will we pay for that?
I won't pay for it, and you won't pay for it. The kids will pay for it because they're going to get a better job, and they're going to pay more money in taxes. If you have a low-paying job, you in effect pay no money in taxes. If you have a well-paying job, you will pay taxes. We will get it out of them. And not only that, but if the kids know they have something they can count on, a future that's guaranteed, no matter how bad their family situation, they'll be a lot less likely to get involved in drugs and gangs and tear a community apart. They'll know this is the future they can count on. And then they'll come back and even help our community more as educated young adults.
Economic prosperity drives the ability to provide
No doubt.
the money for other types of programs. That's a lot of people feel that that's one of the reasons we really need to have the economy perking along, is because that will pay for other things that we want and need. We have, but we do have people wanting to nibble at the tax base with things like the carbon tax initiative. And the Democrats seem to be pretty fond of that. What's your, coming from an ag-based place where people takes tractors and smoke and stuff to make things work? What's your take on that initiative? The whole idea
of course,
of carbon tax.
the carbon fee is on large-scale emitters of CO2, not small guys. The fee isn't placed on the guy driving the tractor.
Well, we'll all be paying higher gas tax. I mean, that's at least part of the picture, right? 14 cents, and I see you sort of as I guess, self-described by what you say, champion of the working man, and they're the ones that can least likely afford another 14 cents on gas. That's one place where it will show up, right?
Yeah, but can we afford the smoke season every year? Can we afford to see our environment destroyed? One of the main reasons I've always enjoyed living in Yakima is how close we are to the wilderness. A half hour in the forest, and an hour worth the summit. I love to go hunting. I love to fish. I love to camp. If the environment wasn't worthwhile, there'd be no point in even being here.
Absolutely, but we get
and the smoke season is getting to be ridiculous. If this is the new norm, when you and I were kids growing up here, we never saw this.
No, but that's. I mean, the forest fires are a whole separate issue in terms of forest management and those kinds of things. We're talking about if my 15 cents a gallon for gas could make an impact on the smoke that India or China's putting out, maybe then it would have a global impact. We already got some of the freshest air and purest water. Take a look outside right now, man. I mean, that's our normal state, and we're going to be taxing ourselves to think that we're going to be making improvements, and I don't know that anybody's really shown that money, how that money will pay off in improved or maintained quality. But for now, that's a debate as the process goes. But for now,
Sure.
you would put yourself down as in favor
in the long
of it?
run, we have to shift to green energy.
Well-
we cannot keep producing CO2 and dumping it in the atmosphere like it's a garbage dump. There is a limit. The world is only so big. There is one spaceship Earth. There's only one atmosphere.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
if we mess it up, there's no going back. We need to be proactive and think in the future.
We need to put you on a plane and export you to Beijing and have that conversation there for
right.
starters.
That's
for
right.
starters. But
We'll put you
that
down
aside,
for you. We'll put you down,
Put
a
you
yes
down as a yes
on
on that. Okay.
1631. I-1639. How do you feel about that one? It's toughening background checks for people buying semi-automatic rifles. Increases the age limit to 21 for buyers of those guns,
You're a
requiring
hunter.
safe
You're a gun
storage.
guy.
Yeah. How do you feel about
yeah.
this one?
I mean, I do. I got my 30-30. I got my .6, and I got my 12 gauge in a gun safe, as we all should. If you're not responsible with something like a weapon, there should be consequences. These are very dangerous tools. They have to be maintained. They have to be locked up. Bump stocks are crazy. If you're on the terrorist watch list, you probably shouldn't get a gun. If you've been adjudicated unable to handle your affairs because of your mental state, you probably shouldn't be out buying guns.
I don't know. I'm not
All
too
right.
good at the math, so I don't know that my financial affairs are in order. But that's a whole nother conversation,
At
Jack.
least you can manage your own checkbook,
Yeah,
right?
All right.
Maybe if I can find it.
It's a yes for you on I-1639. I-940, the police training, the de-escalation for police officers. How do you feel about that?
We need it. We have increasingly put our mental health affairs into the hands of the police,
True that.
and they need to be prepared as much as possible. The police are working for the greater good
All right.
of our country, and they need all the supplies and all the training.
You
they
see
can get.
this more as help for them rather than because a lot of people take the position that they're doing a terrible job and they need to buck up, cupcake, and get trained versus let's give them more tools and more help. I mean, those are two different philosophical approaches.
very much so.
And
Oh yeah, they're already trained a great deal.
This
it
is
takes
just
a lot to become a
additional
police
to-
officer. Yeah,
Okay.
but
I think that's
especially to deal with people that are having mental problems,
Right.
it isn't normally their training. A little more training in that regards would go well.
I think that's a good distinction to make because there are other people that make this negative first assumption, and we don't want to put you in that category. You've got a positive assumption. You just want to give them more tools, and that's good.
And Initiative 1634, that's the grocery tax, the sugar tax. How do you feel about that one, Jack?
Well, the tax on soda pop and energy drinks, grocery tax is really a gross misnomer. They're trying to give the impression they're going after your food. It is just on soda pop and energy drinks. It's not a grocery tax. We do have a problem with obesity. We need to do something about it. A
Why is he-
minor
why is he
tax,
looking at me
it's
when
like
he says
taxing
that?
cigarettes, actually had an effect
Yeah.
on children buying cigarettes. You make it expensive enough, they can't get it easily.
So you would be a yes vote says we don't allow for jurisdictions to tax that stuff. Do you want local jurisdictions to have the right to tax it if they feel like it, or do you want to?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay. All right.
You
so that'd
vote
be a
no.
That'd be a no.
That's right.
On the initiative.
Jack, you got about a minute left. Tell us why you are the best choice to send to Olympia.
Well, I was raised in the area. I understand the area. I am fighting for the working class guy. Business is going well. Business needs to continue to go well. But as a government official, we need to look at people that need our help. The people that need our help are not the large corporations, are not the wealthy. They're the working class. We're the ones that need the help, deserve the help. And I think with universal health care and universal education, we'll set a good foundation for everyone in our area, especially the working guys that are going to lose everything because of your health. Your kids are desperate because they know they don't have the money to go to university or go to J.M. Perry. We need to help us and not the big corporations.
Jack McEntire, running for the 15th District State House. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. If you win, we'll have you back for more conversations down the road. Best of good luck to you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.